All right. This is the very first taping of Northern with myself, Beatrice Deer, with my guest host, Tanya Mesher-Jones.
Hi.
Yes, Laurel Sprengelmeyer.
You got it.
Mm-hmm. And Chris McCarron.
Hey.
And our guest, Deseray Cumberbatch.
Ooh.
So let me introduce you to the team here. Tanya Mesher-Jones is a designer, jeweler, painter, and illustrator from Gutjock, Nunavik, Quebec, currently based in Montreal. Tanya produces a fashion line under her name, Tanya Innaarulik. She's all-around, self-made, badass businesswoman.
Oh, thanks.
Mm-hmm. And then we have Laurel. Laurel is a visual artist and musician best known by her musical moniker, Little Scream. As Little Scream, her work has been praised by The Guardian, The New York Times, and she has toured North America and Europe extensively. Welcome, Laurel.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here with us. And Chris McCarron is my awesome bandmate, and he produces our albums. And he's a jack of all trades. There is nothing he can't do or fix. He's an incredible musician, and he's one of my best friends. That's Chris McCarron.
Thank you.
Yeah, and our guest, Deseray Cumberbatch, started competing in the Inuit Games at the age of 14 and has earned 31 Arctic Winter Games Ulus since 2006 in Alaska. She also had accumulated about 200 medals since she was a teenager. She played team sports such as ice hockey, soccer, basketball, and volleyball in her high school years. She also took part in a short distance marathon and track and field in Nunavik. Inuit Games, however, have a special place for Deseray, 17 years and counting. Now, I know Deseray personally, and I am honored that she's here with us. And first of all, let's talk about being an athlete, Deseray.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for introducing me. Being an athlete, I feel like I am meant to be an athlete, so it comes naturally for me. And yeah, let's talk about Arctic sports.
All right.
Yeah.
So do you guys have any questions to Deseray? I know a little bit about the Arctic sports, so I'd like to hear your questions to Deseray.
I have so many questions.
Okay.
Because first of all, I'm really ignorant about sports in general. And so when it comes to Arctic sports, it was totally new for me. So knowing that we were going to be talking to you today was a great opportunity for me to start reading about Arctic sports. And one thing that was really exciting to me is that I hadn't heard of many of the sports that are included in Arctic sports. And a lot of the ones that you've won medals for were totally new sports for me. So I would love to hear about things like the 1 foot high kick and the finger pull and all of these, just so many brand sports that were totally new to me.
Yes. So Arctic sports or Inuit Games, there are so many games that we play, but traditionally, there are so many games. How can I explain this? I'm good at the sports, but I'm not so good with explaining the games. It's like I have to show you.
Sure,
Yeah. She does very great demonstrations.
Move the tables, guys.
Right.
Do this.
For another episode.
Could you
This is why you got me here. Huh?
Yes.
You pin Deseray on me.
Okay. So 1 foot high kick. There's a target that is hanging from the ceiling, or from a stick or a stand. And then the participant or the athlete has to jump with both feet, kick with one foot, and land on the same foot that you kicked with. And there's each height, you have 3 chances. And at the competition, there's 3 minutes each in each attempts. So that's 1 foot high kick. And 2 foot high kick is same idea. You jump with both feet, kick with both feet, land on both feet. And you have to maintain your balance.
So we have an example that we can see up on the screen over there.
And what's your record, Desiree?
My record, that's 1 foot high kick, by the way. And my record is 7 feet 6 inches.
Whoa.
And how tall are you?
I am 5 feet 6 inches.
Wow.
Yeah. And the world record for women in 1 foot high kick is 7 feet 10 inches. And for men, it's over 9 feet. I think it's 9 feet 9 inches or 9'6". I forgot.
It's incredible. And the Inuit Games were all about survival back in the day before they became an official sport.
Yeah.
It was all about survival for our ancestors.
Yeah, because these games, they're physical, but they were also used to entertain kids and to stay in shape, especially for men. Because if you can stay in shape, like you can be
A better hunter.
a better hunter. Yeah, out in the land.
Yeah, and the more physically strong and agile you are, the more dangers you can avoid.
And appealing.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
sexier.
kind of guy I would go for. 9'6", 1 foot
High kick
high kick.
performer.
Mine.
Yes. And one of the good examples that I can give you is the kneel jump. So you, at the competition, you kneel on the floor, feet flat, and then you have to jump forward. The further you go, you win. But back then, that was used, especially by women, Inuit women, to have the strength to get up fast and quick and start running if the ice breaks. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I think you can picture what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So yeah, all of these sports, 1 foot high kick, 2 foot high kick, kneel jump, arm pull, head pull,
They
triple
serve the
jump.
purpose.
Yeah. All of these, they all have a history behind these. I don't know all of them, but I know most of them, I think.
So, what are the sports that you won medals for?
Yeah. When it comes to that question, I'm like,
Just say all of them.
yeah,
All of
basically.
them is the easy answer.
Yeah, but my favorite, what I can say is my favorites are 1 foot high kick and arm pull because I'm like good at them. But my least favorites are Alaskan high kick and kneel jump. Yeah,
And why is that?
kneel jump, I'm like, ugh, I'll do it, but yeah, I don't know.
Because it's too easy.
No, they're not easy. Like Alaskan high kick and kneel jump are not easy for me. I don't know why. But the other sports, I feel like I'm so natural at them. I don't even think. I just do them. Like I just perform, and then and winning medals is not something that I like aim for. But since I'm good at them, I just like do my best, and yeah. Hope
So you
for the
have to
best.
be, you have to know how to do every different sport in the Inuit Games. Or you have to compete, or you have to learn and practice every single one of them.
Good question. But you don't have to do all of the sports when
Okay.
you're competing. You have to do at least 3 games at the Arctic Inuit Games.
Okay.
But for women, there's 7 games, and for men, there's 10 games. And you have to do at least 3, and then you're good. Yeah. To compete, you have to do 3.
So when I was watching that video of an example of the 1 foot high kick, how it seems like it takes so much coordination to be able to land back on your feet. And how do you
your foot.
on your foot? Sorry, right? Because that's the 2 foot is the both feet. But how do you practice something like that without getting a concussion? Because I was thinking if I was trying to do that, first of all, I couldn't kick that high and I would fall over.
Yeah.
If I was.
So to practice, I mean, do your fitness at the, do your workouts at a gym, like lunges or squats and stuff like that. But with the coordination, like you really have to think, like be present with your body. When I teach kids, I tell them to go slow. And when I first watch a participant or an athlete to do a kick, it's easy for me to tell them to like, okay, work on this or work on your kick or your your jump. Like again, like I have to be on the floor with the participant or an athlete to coach her or him. But for me, since it was so easy for me to jump and kick, like I didn't really have to think. So
You were born for this.
yeah, basically, I feel it. I feel it too. Like I really, it's in my head. Like I'm so convinced that like I was born to do this. Yeah,
I know that feeling.
Yeah.
That's what I do too.
yeah.
Yeah. It's like Deseray and I talk about purpose and finding your passion, and this is what we talk about.
Yeah.
It's like you just know that you're made for something, like, and when you find it, it just comes very natural.
What a great feeling.
The best feeling.
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah. So now that you're you just started your 30s, how do you see your life now versus 10 years ago?
So much better. Mentally, I feel so mature. I think maturer. I think. Yeah, like I feel like I seek less from people. Like I used to be like a people pleaser and seeking approval from others. Now, as a 31-year-old woman, I'm like, no, I don't need to do that. Actually, I really don't need to do that. Yeah, and it feels so good. I feel more confident about myself. I feel more independent, and I think age is it's a blessing. It's a privilege. I'm so happy, and yeah, I'm just so happy to become more like getting older. Yeah,
Elevated.
yeah, exactly.
And what do you think brought you there?
Living by moments, I think.
Reading lots of books.
Yes, yes. I was telling Tanya and like this group, like I love reading, and I think reading helps me grow and seeing or imagining. Using imagination to grow. I think, and there are a lot of authors and so many writers that can use words to show readers that there's a different world. Like there's so many different experiences and stories, and I love to read about them. So I think that helps me to grow as a person, reading books.
Awesome. Now let's go back into your background more. You're an Inuk from Inuit, but you're also part Black. So can we go into that?
Inuk Black, that's what I call myself. Yeah, Inuk and Black. My mom, she's Inuit, and my dad is Black. Ananaga Inuk Romeo Lorong, she grew up in Inuit, And my dad came from the Caribbean, 17 in the Grenadines. He's still in Inuit. They both met here in Montreal at a bar in downtown Montreal, and they suddenly got pregnant with my brother, and they decided to move to Inuit together. My mom wanted to move because when they first got pregnant, they went to a hospital, and the doctor at the time was rude, I think. And the doctor thought that my mom was a drug addict, and the doctor also thought my dad was, drug addict and crackheads. And my mom started crying, and they decided to go. Okay, let's go into Roar and give birth, and they ended up staying there.
So they experienced racism.
Yeah, and it was late 80s too. So at the time, I don't know, I wasn't born at the time, but yeah, it sounded rude when I heard the story. So I'm so happy that they moved.
Yeah. Yeah. Like we as Inuit and BIPOC people, we experience racism, and it's sad that we still do today. Like the story about Joyce Echaquan, for example, and that's just one example out of so many.
Yeah.
So,
but at the same time, when I look at the bright side, if that didn't happen, they would be in a different spot. They would be in a different place, I think.
yeah.
I'm happy that I was born and raised in Nunavik. So
Yeah.
yeah,
for
that had to
sure.
happen, I think.
Yeah.
Like it or not.
And it's so good that you practice seeing the positive side of a bad situation, which is I try to practice too, and it takes awareness and practice to do that.
It does.
And that's what I admire about you.
Oh, thank you.
So you were raised in Inuit. Can you talk a bit about your childhood, what it was like?
Yeah, my brothers and I were 2 years, 2 years apart. So we were friends. I loved playing outside with my brothers, and
You're the only girl.
yeah.
And are you a middle child or youngest?
The second. So there were 4 of us, and I'm the second.
Second oldest.
Yeah, second oldest. And I was always the exceptional one. So I was the lucky one. I felt protected, coming from my dad and my brothers, and we were friends. We were always friends. Of course, siblings do fight, so we had that sometimes. And our house was next to a playground, so we were always outside playing before the internet days. So it was always fun. And the neighborhood, the kids' neighborhood, the kids from the neighborhood, they were nice to us. So I loved my childhood.
As a Black Inuk girl, did you experience any racism in your community?
Yeah. So my brothers and I, obviously we had a different skin color. The kids our age, we were friends, but the older kids, preteen at the time, they were they would bully us, calling us names. But my brothers, they always had my back, and every time there would be fights. My brothers were the ones fighting back, and I would be kind of behind and just not bother with the fights. But the kids that were bullying us, when I'm looking back at them, they were hurting inside. So I forgave them. And unfortunately, some of them had already passed away. And when I look at their family history, it makes sense why they were hurting inside. So that's why forgiving came like really easy for me, because I was trying to understand why they were like that.
What a beautiful human trait that is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
To be able to look at people who do wrong and understand where they're coming from.
Yeah, because it has to, like, it came from somewhere. Like, hurt people. Like,
Yeah.
I've heard of that many times, and I do believe it too. Also, like, heal people. But yeah, like, those kids, I mean, they really did their best, I think.
They did with what they had.
Yeah. And I'm sure they heard words from their parents, and their parents heard, like, I don't know, they heard it from somewhere.
Yeah.
And also, by nature, you kind of question another person if the person is different. Like, when you look at the person, like, he or she is different, I'm like you question that, kind of. Like, and as kids, you just kind of blur words out, like, I forgave them. They were just kids too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it's truly inspiring to hear you talk about forgiveness and healing. I find that's something that we need to do more of. I think it would make the world a whole lot better if everyone had that value, that core value.
It relieves you of burden.
Exactly. Yeah.
So how did you get introduced to Arctic Winter Games?
That I asked the same question because when I was 8 years old or 10 years old, there were, are we good? Like, yeah. I think I was 10. I think I was 10 years old, and I was at the Innaarulik school, gym school, and there were people playing the Arctic sports, the Inuit Games, and they were doing kicks, and one of the athletes asked me, like, if I want to try, and I tried it, like, right away. Like, I picked it up right away. Like, I didn't have to think. I didn't have to imagine. Like, I just, as if I did it before. And the girls, they were teenagers at the time. The girls were jumping, they were kicking, and I was better than them. And
At 10.
yes, and
At your first time.
yes, exactly. And so, to answer your question, it's that's how I was introduced. I don't know why I went to that gym. It was evening, and I don't know how I got there. So I don't remember that part. But I do remember kicking, and I was in the moment, and it was very natural for me. Yeah.
Amazing. Now, if you're okay with talking about your mom.
I'm okay with that.
Okay. So let's talk about how she passed away.
This is when I want Kleenex, I think, if there's any. Yeah, my mom passed away in 2018 fall.
Which is very recent.
Yeah, it was September 15. She passed away in a nursing home, and her lungs, pneumonia. She had pneumonia and high fever. She passed away like that, but she passed away under a circumstance. In July 2018, she had gone into a coma because she was found unconscious at a hotel room. She was an alcoholic person, and she had, she had so many alcohol bottles around the floor, around the hotel room, and the janitor saw her unconscious, and the ambulance had to pick her up, sent to the nursing hospital. Thank you. And in the ambulance, she had to be revived. They had to do a CPR, and when she got to the hospital, she had to be in a coma for 3.5 weeks. And then when she woke up, most of her brain was dead. She couldn't move, she couldn't talk, she couldn't eat. She had to be nursed. She had to be in a nursing home 24/7. And then unfortunately she had to be she got sick, and then she passed away.
How old was she?
She was 54, I think. Yeah, it's young.
It's very young.
Mm-hmm.
And that was due to her alcoholism?
Yeah, she was. Honestly, I suspected that because she had close calls in the past.
Was she living here now?
No. So, okay, she was living in Inuit, but she had gone to Montreal for hospital follow-up. She had other many health issues. But she had a I don't know what it's called medically, but potential brain tumor.
Okay.
So that's why she was here for hospital. And on Thursday night, I drove her back to her hotel. Friday morning, she had to be in Inuit. She had to flew back to Inuit, but she didn't. So Saturday, I called her her hotel. No pickup. She wasn't there. No, I thought she wasn't there. She didn't pick her phone up. She didn't. She never had a cell phone. So I had to call her hotel room. Sunday, no answer, and then Monday, no answer, and then Monday afternoon, there was someone in Inuit calling me saying that, did you hear your mom is unconscious and they couldn't recognize her, and I think she's at the hospital. And then I'm like, what? What's going on? And when I learned that, I didn't know which hospital she was in, and so I had to search. And then I was like, when I went into a taxi, I didn't know which hospital she was in. So I was like, okay, let's just go to any hospital. I'll look for her, physically. Mm-hmm. And one shot, I went to the Glen Hospital, and then somehow I found her there. No, I called Inuit. I called someone. And then that person, maybe she's on this room. So let's go see the ICU level. So we went there. She was there. And then, that's how I found her. Yeah.
So sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so sad. No one recognized her. The janitor, at the hotel, if a human body is unconscious, of course, she needed medical attention. And then when it came to hospital, we didn't know, the doctors, no one knew who this person was. And then somehow at the hotel, the receptionist had my mom's name and the room, and then they kind of like calculated like, okay, maybe it's this person, and then that's how they got the name. Of course, like I recognized my mom, like I know my mom. I knew my mom, and like I could identify her, like, okay, yeah, that's her, and the room number matches like this person. So that's how we found out it was actually her.
That must have been so scary.
Yeah.
Thought she was home.
We were confused. Like my dad, he was in Inuit at the time, and we knew that like every time my mom is in Montreal, she would skip a day. She wouldn't catch her flight because she would drink or had passed out or blacked out. Like, that was usual. So on that Friday morning, Saturday morning, we knew, okay, maybe she just missed her flight. She's passed out. Because many times, like, she was always like that. Then on Sunday and Monday, we were like, okay, we need to find her.
Never expecting.
Yeah,
this
yeah,
was
yeah.
what was going on.
Somewhat like I mentioned that I suspected that, but not at that time. I just didn't like think at the time.
Or that bad.
Yeah. And my mother and our relationship was so like we wouldn't align. Like we were not the same persons because she drank, I'm sober, and I hated having her around every time she drinks. She knew, like everyone knew that. And so that's like I didn't even want her in my apartment at the time. I mean, but I did drove her when I drove her back to the hotel that night. Oh my God, like she said something that was so unusual. Like I was driving and she was like in the passenger seat, and she said like funny, like she just looked at me and someday like I'm gonna die sick. She just said that, like, okay, I'm driving, and then I didn't even say anything back. And then when she said that, I had a feeling like this is gonna manifest. I just didn't know it was gonna be that close. Yeah. Yeah, it just happened like that.
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
That's really heartbreaking.
Yeah. But I learned to accept that right away. I do accept her death. There are things that I don't really accept. Growing up, I was like, I wish I had a sober mom. I wish I had, fun mom. I wish the alcohol was in her daughter. Like, I was so mad at her. I was like hating her. Like, and I hated having that feeling too. Like, this is supposed to be my mom, and I think like this about her, and I hated thinking like that. So, yeah, me and her, we were just very different people. But I did learn to accept her death right away. Yeah.
And why do you think your mom had alcohol issues?
I think, like pain. She wanted to numb her pain. I'm not too sure. I'm not 100% sure why she drank. She didn't really talk about it either. She started talking a little bit when I was in my mid-20s. It was hard for her to talk. Yeah, I wish I knew that answer too. I'm also learning about her, even after her death. Like, I'm still learning about her.
It's like you said about those kids who were racist and how hurt people, and you know, it's almost hand in hand. If you're you automatically have trauma and pain and hurt because of everything that Inuit have gone through. So for sure, you know, she was a hurt person.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I remember being like, when I was a teenager, I remember wishing that she had gone to therapy. I know she tried getting help, but it wasn't enough, like, kind of thing. Yeah, I'm not too sure why she had so much pain, and a lot of that pain were like put it out on me sometimes. I hated that too. Yeah, I'm not too sure why. I don't know why she didn't talk. That's the other thing too. Yeah.
So knowing what you know about your mom, are there like things that you try and do in your life to kind of, how would I put it, to do things differently than your mom? Like sort of in honor of your mom, if that makes any sense?
Yeah. I recently learned that my mom couldn't really show affection to me, but my dad did. My dad hugged me, he kissed me, like, showed me like affection. I was craving for that from my mom. Like, my mom, she just didn't have, you know, like, I just didn't feel that connection with her. She did not have that. She did not give me that affectionate, loving, you know, these physical or emotional support, because she did not get it from her mother. My grandmother's mom had to be sent to Toronto in the 1940s and 50s because she had TB. She had been sent down to Toronto by ship, and there were a lot of, like, you know, Inuit patients back in the day who were shipped to down south.
Yeah, to these sanatoriums.
Yes, to be healed, to get healing.
Physical healing.
Yes. And my grandmother's mother, she never came back to Inuit. She never came back to my grandmother.
So she died in those sanatoriums.
Yes. And my grandmother, I don't know how old she was, but she was a young girl. So she didn't have that mother and daughter relationship. And she couldn't give that to my mother.
Yeah.
So my mom, she just didn't know how to like be that supporting, emotional supporter to her daughter.
Yeah, because she didn't receive it.
Yeah, exactly. So she just didn't know how. That's what I've learned recently. So in order for me to get this emotional support, now I seek and ask my female friends, can you do this to me? Like, can you hug me? Can you, like, I ask my friend, like, I want to feel loved. I want to feel supported. And I received that from a healthy woman, my close friends. Like, so in order for me to heal that part of me, I ask feminine, loving, emotional support and like female energy. So I do ask. I'm the one who make an effort to say, I want this. Can I receive it from a healthy person?
How amazing to be aware of exactly what you need and how to ask for it.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it took me a long time too.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't conscious of, like, every time I'm being mean to a person, I'm like, okay, like, where is this coming from?
Where is it coming from?
Yeah, like I think this is pain. So
Mm-hmm.
in order for me to heal this pain, like I have to like ask for help, like go to a therapist or read books or watch I don't know, YouTube channels, like on how to like how to do this, how to do that, like those
Yeah.
type. Like I was
Yeah.
kind of like desperate, like few years ago, like I was like almost desperate to, okay, like how do I be a good person? So
It's
asking
like you're
questions.
being an athlete for your life.
Yeah.
How am I gonna win? Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it
How
really
am I,
is. It's
how
applying
am I
the
gonna be the
same-
best me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
best
a
version.
kind me.
Yeah,
Good
exactly.
person me.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You need a gold medal in that.
Oh,
too.
thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. So yeah, to answer your question, I do ask for help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the hardest things
Mm-hmm.
I find coming. Like
I
can
struggle with that big time too. I don't know how to ask for help.
Yeah. Like I really relate to growing up with a mom who wasn't very attentive and present with me.
Same.
Yeah, similar to your grandma. My mother lost her mother to sickness, to the Spanish flu when she was 4. So she never had a mother figure. So she didn't give that motherly love to me because she didn't have it. So we too were very distant until a few years ago when we both worked on our relationship and talking through and there was a lot of pain trying to come to that, and now I can say that we have a pretty healthy relationship, and it took years to get there.
It takes time.
I find where that comes from is, and it's being mature on our part. You know, like sometimes we want to blame the people that hurt us, but at a certain point, we're responsible for our lives right now. And being able to put our feet in our parents' shoes is extremely healing. To have empathy for the things that they've gone through, even though it hurt us.
Yeah.
You know, that's a part of taking the responsibility of you being a better person and not continuing on with that generational trauma.
Yeah, and breaking the cycle.
Breaking the cycle.
Yeah.
And yeah, yay us.
Yeah.
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 Like
very
we
much.
had to be the responsible ones.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously we're benefiting from that, and
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's very, I mean, I used to play the blame game a lot.
and
Yes.
why not? I mean, you've been hurt. You've been. It's easy. To
It is easier to like guilt trip or you know
Yeah.
you did this to
or
me.
stay in it.
Like,
Stay
yeah.
in the
Victimhood.
wrong behaviors and stay in the
Yeah.
sadness, because why wouldn't you be? Look at everything that's happened to you. You
Yeah.
know, it's so easy to stay there. But you know, like people when they ask me how long or how I've stayed sober this long, I always say there's no shortcuts. You have to put in the work. Like you have to do the work. It doesn't come easy, but man, it's good on this side.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
so good
Yeah.
on this side, and yeah.
Yeah, and that's something we can definitely talk about is our sobriety because we're all
cool kids.
Yeah, the sober gang.
Yeah.
yeah,
And we want more people to
Yeah,
the
come
circle
be a
game.
part of our game.
Yeah. It's that's what I
Chris? Are you a part of our cool
I'm
game?
not.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Tune out. Not invited. Go make oatmeal coffee.
Oatmeal?
Yeah. Oatmeal coffee.
no, like for me, it was a real problem.
Yeah,
I had a real problem.
We had a problem together, Beatrice.
Yes, remember those days? Oh my god!
I seen a video. I had YouTube on I think for Christmas I was playing whatever to Christmas music. I'm always playing to Christmas music, but I guess it had been playing for like hours. So this really old Akbik Jam
Oh my god!
video came on, and you were performing,
Oh my
and I could
God.
see the glitter on your eyes, and I was like, "What? I did her makeup that day." And we were wasted.
Yeah, we were wasted by like 3 p.m.
Yeah.
I remember.
Wow.
Ugh.
When I think back to those days, it's like it's a miracle that I'm still alive.
I know.
What made you to calm down or stop drinking?
I was first, eh?
You were,
Yeah.
You're.
You
I'm
were.
11 years now.
I'm
11
And you're
a half.
15.
15 years sober.
Yeah.
Well, I knew this.
Yeah,
I
thank
knew
you.
this. I knew this thing. I knew. I've always been pretty self-aware, even when I was using. I feel like I've always had this kind of sixth sense that even though I have been in really dangerous situations when I was, younger, I always had this. I don't know. It was just I knew. But anyway, I had this feeling that if I don't stop, I'm gonna die. I knew I was gonna die. I knew it. It was so clear to me. And so what? Die or change? And I didn't know if my life was worth it. At the time, I wasn't good at anything. I didn't go to school. I didn't have any healthy relationships. I had been drunk for many years.
And how old were you at this time?
I quit drinking. People don't really take it seriously, I guess, when I say, because I was only 22 when I quit drinking. But by the time I was 22, I had drank a lifetime. And I mean,
You started very young.
I started young, but I mean, by the time I was 5, I had lived this insane life, So by the time I was 10, I had lived 2 insane lives. So by the time I was 22, I had probably died twice, and so I quit when I was 22. But what was my question?
Why
How-
did you?
Oh, how did I
Yeah.
get sober?
Or what made you stop?
What made? And so even today, like I feel like there's just this way about the world, and I guess my journey and my fate. Like things just happen, and maybe I wasn't aware of it then, but to reflect now and look back, everything happened exactly the way it needed to. Like none of it could be different. And so I had started, I didn't have any stable work. I mean, you couldn't rely on me for anything. I drank so much. I can remember feeling like, how can I bottle this feeling and stay like this forever? And anyway, I was friends with this girl, and that week or that month, she was my party friend. And she was working, she was replacing somebody at the treatment center in Kuchuk that had been closed for, I think, a year because they didn't have, I don't know, they were restructuring the program or something. And I mean, she was just as drunk as I was, but she was replacing somebody. And because it was closed, they just needed somebody to answer the phones there. And then she got drunk and they asked me to replace her. So I was like, okay, well, I need a little bit of money,
To drink
more. And I mean, man, I would get fired now if I talked about this now then. But
They can't fire you
you
now.
can't fire me anymore. No. But I can remember. I mean, the treatments, okay, it's bad. But it was closed, okay, guys? Like, they just needed somebody to answer the phones. I can remember going there, and I had a water bottle, and I had Goschlager inside the water bottle. But anyway, and then and then like 1 week turned into, and then I met Saima. I mean, I knew Saima all my life, but I mean, Saima's my son's father. And he's this amazing, but in a silent way, guy. And I felt, for the first time in my life, I felt safe. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of was running with it, like, okay, go to work and be Simon's girlfriend, drink a little bit, hiding, And then, within a few months, they were going to open this treatment center. And one of the requirements to work at the treatment center was that they wanted to put all the staff through the treatment cycle so that we as staff could know what our clients was going through. And I mean, maybe the universe didn't turn around in swirls but I feel like it did. And, it was all just made. This path was made for me to get sober. I should be more grateful for that. That was an extremely clear path that was given to me. And whoa. So we had to do this treatment cycle. And I can remember like some of my friends saying, but Tanya, you're gonna drink with us, right? When you get out, when you're done. And I said, yeah. Don't worry about it. Like, fuck. But in the back of my mind, I knew, maybe you haven't been good at, and you have to understand, I was not good at anything. Like today, maybe I've done a few good things, but back then I didn't have any confidence to hang on to.
No self-esteem.
No. I didn't believe in myself at all. So the only thing I could do was tell myself, even though I am physically telling my friends, yeah, I'll be back, I'm going to drink with you. You tell yourself you're going to do this. You're going to stay sober. So I did. And this really worked for me. One fucking day at a time. Mm-hmm. So I did that cycle, and it saved my life. And, I just realized it like 3 minutes ago that how beautifully that path was put in front of me. And I like to acknowledge these things. So I will. When I go home, I'm going to acknowledge the path that... Mike, you need to give us... This is so ghetto. Mike.
Can we get some real Kleenex in here, please?
Coming right up.
Honestly.
Oh, we got more in here.
Oh, that's a nice one.
So, that's... Oh, no, we're sure. I'm good.
Oh.
So that was day... I went on this... I went out with a bang. I certainly went out with a bang. I went into treatment... still booze running through my veins. I was hungover, but man, I gave it. I knew I was going to give it. This was it. It was do or die for me. I knew I didn't have any more chances, and I desperately wanted to be a better person. And I wanted to be good at something. So I was going to be good at being sober. But it took me a long time, you know, like I'm still fucked up. 15 years later, I'm still, you know, I still have a lot of issues, but at least I'm sober.
Yeah.
We
That's a
all have
big-
issues.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's big.
It's incredible.
When people ask me that question, like, how do you stay sober? How do you, or what should I do? Like, my life is messed up. And I always say, get sober and 90% of your problems are gone. And then you're going to be able to deal with the 10%, you know? But yeah, it was, you know, Histoire Civique. It's a treatment center. I did the program. We had this incredible facilitator, like she was top notch. Because they were facilitating the staff, they gave us the best of the best, and thank God for that. I learned so much going to treatment. I strongly suggest it. I mean, it gave me the safe place to fall apart. To fall apart, to put myself back together, and not to heal, but to start healing, you know. But it was the most important thing is that treatment is a safe place to fall apart, and that is exactly what I needed to do. I was like this Frankenstein. I was holding together with all these stitches, and I just needed to start over.
Amazing. Truly inspirational. And that's, yeah, I won't get into it too much, but you are definitely my pillar when it came to sobriety. Yeah. And that's in 2011. And we can talk about it another time. But
I'm going to hug you later.
It's so nice what you said, though, Deseray. Healed people heal people. And just
Yeah.
hearing your story, Tanya, it heals. It's healing. It's
yeah.
really
Yeah.
beautiful
It's
to have
beautiful.
your journey
Yes.
shared.
And what about you, Beatrice? Like, what made you stop drinking?
Oh, I was at the end of my my rope. It was either kill myself or take responsibility for my fuck ups and try something that I never did, which was get completely sober and face my issues and get to the root of my anger, because every time I drank, almost every time I drank, I became a monster. And I thought it was because of my toxic relationship. But becoming sober allowed me to look deeper into myself and look deeper into my brokenness. And once I started dealing with my brokenness and my issues, I understood where I was so angry, where I was so hurt. And when I started talking about them and really dismantling my heart and getting into my history, my childhood, my desire to drink started going away, and I started getting stronger. It was very difficult becoming sober, because then I felt everything. I felt so much. And I remember having moments of anguish of just wanting to drink. And that's when I would reach out to Tanya and Saima, because Saima, Tanya's
Baby
ex-
daddy.
Yeah, her baby daddy, my best friend. And I quit drinking a day apart.
Wow.
He had his own issues and I had my own. And I was in Montreal, he was in Goudreau, and coincidentally, we both decided, like, we're we're going to quit drinking.
Mm-hmm.
Like we didn't decide together, but we decided coincidentally at the same time because we were both like tired of our issues.
I just got goosebumps.
Yeah.
That's
And
something.
we three, I with Tanya, Tanya and Saima were like my unofficial sponsors, if you will, in quitting drinking. And that's what I found made a huge difference is having that support, just to have someone where I can say, fuck Tanya, I'm going to fucking kill myself if I don't have a drink. And then you would just listen and wait for that urge to drink. And until it passes, she just listened. And that's what...
We all had something in common.
Yeah.
And the pain is in common as well. But we were on this path, and we had to do it. And it's so neat, like how it's almost been like this little tiny snowball of sobriety, and how people are,
coming on board. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I find that's part of the calling that I have is to not necessarily about being sober, but talking about healing.
The journey.
Yeah, because not everybody has a problem drinking. I didn't know how to drink because I had so much pain and trauma, and that made me not have control when it came to alcohol.
I have this theory, though, that maybe not everybody has a drinking problem, but in our culture and everything that surrounds that, everybody has a responsibility, because even if you can drink, if your drinking has ever caused anybody anything. Wait, I've thought about this, how I would say it. But we have a responsibility. People who are on CBC Igalak, people who are teachers, people who work at the Northern, if you have ever, any one of you have ever caused anybody to miss, your kids to miss school because you were hungover, you are a part of the problem. If you are drinking and you raise your voice and you scare anybody, a child, you are a part of the problem. If you are coming into our region, our communities, and you are drinking in front of people who have serious trauma, who are unable to drink, you are a part of the problem. It's the same theory that I have about getting sober. If you quit drinking, 90% of your problems are gone. If you take alcohol away completely, 90% of the problems are gone. So I feel like everybody has this responsibility. Every person that goes into the North, whether you're white and you don't have a drinking problem, your drinking is going to affect somebody. Therefore, you are a part of the problem. So, yeah. Get your shit together.
Yeah.
Take responsibility for yourself.
Don't drink around our kids. Stuff.
Yeah.
Buble. Mike with his buble. No, I don't drink anything but coffee.
Yeah.
I'm running low.
Not even water.
No, I don't drink. I don't waste my time on water. I know. Sorry, Deseray. I know. I'll make up for it. With an extra hug
Okay. Okay.
I
I
know.
love water.
I know. You know, I'm the worst. I'm not a very healthy person.
We're still working on it.
We're working on it.
Yeah, we're working on it.
We're getting there. I mean, I can't be perfect, guys. Like, take
Yeah,
it easy.
no one is.
I'm almost perfect.
Yeah.
I drink water. I don't drink coffee. We're like opposite.
Yeah. But you're super healthy.
Yeah, thank you. I try.
Coffee still hydrates.
Yeah, but it also dehydrates.
Coffee's like
Yeah, if you
99%
drink
water.
enough. If you drink
Yeah,
enough.
yeah.
Yeah.
I get
All
headaches
right.
if I don't have enough coffee.
I'm not against coffee.
No, I
I'm
know.
just,
But you love water.
I love water.
Yeah. All right, let's get back on the program here.
What's
So,
the next question?
Yeah. We asked Deseray in advance if a song of mine resonates with her, and she chose our song "History." Now, can we talk about why the song resonates with you more?
I was afraid of this question. I don't know the whole lyrics of that song, but I remember texting you saying I love this song. That was when, like 2 months ago, I think.
Something like that.
That time I was like, okay, you know what? Someone told me that, okay, Deseray, you're going into your next chapter. Like just randomly said that to me. And then a few days later, I heard your song. I'm like, this makes sense. Like this song.
Thank you.
Yes, this song. I'm like, it just makes sense. Like I'm going into my next chapter. I'm leaving my history, my past. I'm ready to move on. So that's why I love this song.
I think it's that this song, I love it too. Sometimes I get to support Beatrice as a backup singer. And every time we sing that last line, get out of your history and into your destiny, I get chills. Like I get chills just thinking of it now. And it's so apropos to what we've been talking about.
Yes, very much.
Yeah. Thank you for the song.
Thank you.
I am Beatrice's #1 fan.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
I am the #1 sing along from the crowd.
Okay.
So
you
it's
can have
dangerous
that.
for you to put this music on in the background because I'm going to be compelled to sing along.
I was gonna say I'm #1 fan, but the sing along part you can have that.
Okay.
I don't know how to sing.
Me neither.
You guys are awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much. I think is this the end?
Is it?
Can I actually ask one question?
Oh, please do.
Because I was
Please
really
do.
curious about this,
Sure.
about Arctic Winter Games, and just how you. This is a question for everyone but Chris.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chris.
Not to leave you
It's okay. I'm
out.
sure you have a question there for me.
I do. But just I'm just genuinely curious. So all of these games, that I was saying I'd never heard of before. How would you feel if, for example, finger pull or 1 foot high kick?
It's a
became-
stick pull.
Yeah,
Or arm
stick pull.
pull, not finger pull.
Okay,
Because finger pull is something else, Laurel.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Dene Games.
There
That's
you go,
Dene
Denny. It was in the same, when I was reading the same article, and see, this is where it's like, it's hard to find the information. That's
Yeah,
good. So
yeah.
I thank you for correcting me. Okay, well, let's say 1 foot high kick. If that took off on TikTok or something, how would you all feel about that? Would you say, oh, this is cool that people are getting into our culture? Or would you say, thanks, but no thanks? It actually is losing some of its meaning out of context.
Good question. For me, I don't mind at all. When we're competing at the Arctic Inuit Games, there's Inuit, there's white, there's black. It's like different. Inuit Games, the sport welcomes everyone. Like that's how Arctic Inuit Games started, to share cultures. On social media, TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, go, like learn the games,
There are definitely subjects that are touchy, like
for
them,
sure.
but Inuit Games super cool, and people should learn about it, appreciate it. I mean, it's nowhere else in the world do you see such unique competitions being held and by people who are of the Arctic, you know. No grand stadiums, no gyms. I mean, back then, you know. So it's pretty amazing how that they have survived, and to how they came to be, why they came to be.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a nice way to learn about our culture.
Yeah. And like these games, they're so old, like from hundreds of years ago. Now we compete. It's a friendly competition. But on social media, I do wish that people give credit to our culture, I think. But otherwise, like, welcome, you know? Like, I'm Inuk, and then I'm Black. So it's like I'm mixed. Still, the sport welcomes me. And I do wish people, if or when they come to the games, welcome. Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Hi, my name's Teresina. I'm a big fan of your song Imuta. How did you choose your beautiful tattoos, Beatrice?
You
Sweetheart. I wasn't expecting that to be the question. That's so cute. And very important.
Yes, yes. So to answer your question, you cutie pie, I chose I have a lot of tattoos. Maybe I'll start explaining my chin tattoo, which would have been originally the first tattoo. The chin tattoo was culturally the first tattoo we got as young girls when we first started our period. This would have been tattooed. But because we lost our tattoo traditions due to colonization, I only got this 2 years ago. More than 2 years ago now. As part of my way of decolonizing. And I got these tattoos as part of, again, decolonizing. And I got these and I gave them my own meaning, which was my 10th year sobriety, which is a very big accomplishment for me. So in our culture, tattoos meant different things, different accomplishments in life. And since we are in the modern times, we don't have the same meanings for our tattoos anymore. For example, back in the day, before colonization, if you learned how to build a kayak, you would earn your tattoos. Or if you learned how to make traditional kamiks, boots, then you earn your tattoos. But to me, my big accomplishment was 10 years sober. So I got these markings. And then I got different markings. Like I have markings on my thighs, which are birthing tattoos. So the baby can see something beautiful and artistic as she's born. And then I have my wrist tattoos, which are to say that I'm an Inuk woman. And yeah, that's just part of our identity as Inuit women. We got tattooed and we're still getting tattooed. And it's my daughter, Aksanik, who tattoos me now. So I'm very proud of that. Thank you for your question. what's your thoughts about our first podcast?
Before I came here, I was so calm. I thought I would be nervous, but I wasn't. So I was so happy about that. I kept telling myself, okay, just be myself, just breathe, just be present. That's it. So I came and I felt like heard, seen, and being myself was like, that was the goal. So I achieved that. So I thank everyone.
Spoken by an athlete.
I love it. I love this podcast, and it was a good talk.
Awesome. I appreciate everyone's honesty and openness so much. I loved recording our first episode, and come back for more.
Yes.
Northern was funded by the Canada Council for the Arts. Northern with myself, Beatrice Deer, is produced by Jeremie Saunders at Snack Labs and Michael Felber. Today's guest hosts were Tanya Innaarulik, Laurel Sprengelmeyer, and Christopher McCarron. Thank you to today's guest, Deseray Cumberbatch. And Christopher McCarron picks up a technical director credit. I'm Beatrice Deer, and we'll see you next time. At tonight.